And joining us on the phone right now, one of my favorite people in media, Andrew Breitbart. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Oh, good. Somebody likes me. It doesn't feel like that out there in Twitterland.
Do you get angry tweets, Andrew?
Oh, it's my lifestyle, and the problem is I'm such a petty person that there isn't an anonymous person with 3 followers that I won't spend 5 hours arguing with.
I am the same way. My life, I've spent hours wasting away at trying to go back and forth with people on there. Now, of course, I'm sure you're talking about a whole host of issues. Today, we're talking about NPR, the House, potentially going after at least a portion of how NPR spends its money, and potentially going after even more than that. What are your thoughts about public funding right now to NPR? It's sort of the broader context.
Well, in honor of NPR, I'll whisper my opinion on this in a nuanced way. I actually like NPR's programming. I just don't think that we, the people, should be paying for it. That point of view I've held much of my adult life. I do think that they put out a superior liberal product. If I want to hear what liberals have to say, there's no better place to go than NPR, and I'm not even saying that facetiously. So the James O'Keefe NPR caper only adds fuel to the fire, because I think, conservatives have a strong argument, A, because we shouldn't be funding it in the first place, and B, because it's ideologically driven. But I think the thing that's most important about James O'Keefe's Acorn sting isn't that they got Ron Schiller, who's no longer with NPR, to step down. I think it's a much bigger story than that. I think what you have on the tapes is NPR trying to get a $5 million check from enemies of the United States. In another era, they would call this treason. If the Nazis were trying to give us money to influence our national debate back in 1942, I think that would be quite significant. This is the Muslim Brotherhood, and in the second batch of tapes, you hear, this Muslim Brotherhood front group talking with the head of institutional giving, not Ron Schiller, and she's reading the website of the group that says that their goal is to spread Sharia throughout the world. And she looks at it and says, I think that you probably, based upon your website mission, would like to probably put your money towards domestic NPR coverage. So it just shows that they had a strong desire to take that money, even though on day one, former president of NPR, Vivian Schiller, said she repeatedly rejected the money. It's not true. And per usual, the cover-up is worse than the crime. Absolutely. And now, Andrew, I want to talk to you about James O'Keefe and the reaction, this angry, insane reaction to what it turns out to be a conservative doing something that liberal mainstream journalists have been doing for a long time. I even remember Dana Milbank saying on MSNBC, saying, this guy, I'm afraid he's going to be taping my conversations. It seems that there was this heinous anger towards James O'Keefe personally, whereas typically you'd say, well, isn't NPR the real criminal here? I mean, what's going on with this? Well, yeah, I don't think that the mainstream media understands that the last 20 some odd years, starting with Rush Limbaugh, then Drudge, 1995, and beyond, is an era in which the American people now get to hold the mainstream media to the type of reporting techniques that they've been subject to for forever. I don't understand why it's okay for Dateline on NBC to dress as Muslims and to walk through NASCAR events, trying to goad the American people to say intemperate things about Muslims. By the way, they didn't get anything. The American people are better than what Dana Milbank and NBC thinks of them. But they think they can go into an insurance company. They think that they can go into a fast food restaurant and pretend to be something that they're not. But somehow the press doesn't think that its product should be challenged, that there should be a checks and balance against it. I think they, more than Kentucky Fried Chicken, need to be, undercover stung.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really amazing to me to see how the response was to this, and saying, and of course the Howard Kurtzes and everybody, in the mainstream media saying this is the end of journalism, this is the end of fairness in journalism, and they've been making this cry for a very long time. You have a different take on this in saying that, this is actually, it seems to be a new era of journalism, somewhat reminiscent of what's been going on in the UK for quite a long time now. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's been the most exciting time in media for the last 15 years, and the people who should be writing about how exciting it is and how many new innovations there are the very people who are losing their jobs because media has been freed up to the people. It's not, it's no longer about a Hearst, owning barrels of ink. Any American become a blogger. Any American can videotape an event or videotape, undercover videotape something and become on the front page of the news because of that level of ingenuity. And it's unbelievably exciting. But the people who are covering it are scared by it because they're going to lose their jobs, because we're exposing that they haven't been reporting so many stories. And the stories that they have been covering, we've been able to prove they cover from a very, very specific ideological perspective. So we're at war with the mainstream media right now, and what they want to do is put handcuffs on us and tell us, no, these are the rules. No. The double standard will not exist. You guys don't get to do this against us without us being able to do it against you. This has been going on for the last 20 years. They've said it's not fair for Rush Limbaugh to read the New York Times and deconstruct it. They said it's not fair for Matt Drudge to be aggregating news and to be pointing out discrepancies and report, opposing viewpoints. And now they're doing it to the whole of America, who now have technology at their fingertips.
Yep, absolutely, going after them. And just one last point. We've got about a minute left here, Andrew. So good to have you on. Andrew Breitbart on our air here. I'm curious to see what you think about the coverage or lack of coverage of some of the heinous, angry, sometimes even racist signs we saw outside of the Wisconsin State House. You were there. What did you see, and how do you think the media, mainstream media overall, covered it?
Well, of course it was deplorable because we've exposed the media as being ideologically driven 100%. The media set the tone and the standard. They said after Gabby Gifford's shooting in Congress that we were in a new era of civility, and 2 weeks later, the organized left behaved in deplorable ways with signs that far exceeded the incivility that they claimed happened in the Tea Party events. And so the double standard is alive and kicking in the mainstream media. The more they attack the Tea Party for its unbelievably clean and civil events while ignoring the organized union events, the more we're going to do undercover stings on the media to try and get rid of this corrupt era of media.
Andrew Breitbart, one of the most influential bloggers in America, thank you so much.